Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to today's class. So I hope everybody is doing fine and in good health. So today we'll be covering a very important topic from a DBMS, that is lossless decomposition and dependency preserving. So many students were having this request of doing this video covering this topic. Okay, so before moving forward, please join the Telegram group if you haven't joined yet. T.me/netreadigimento. So here I try to provide all the updates regarding the classes, regarding the schedule, regarding the PDF, everything that we have, that I can, all the study materials that I can give, I can provide. I do provide on this Telegram group only. Okay, so and if you have any doubt regarding classes, regarding regarding a subscription, regarding anything, you can always call on these two numbers. Okay, whenever if you have any doubt, you can even mail it on this email ID. So let's move to our topic, that is lossless decomposition, dependency preserving. So there are no notes basically, I'll just simply write, because there are just basic two things that you have to keep in mind while covering this topic, that is a lossless decomposition and dependency preserving. So first of all, we'll start with lossless decomposition. Okay, so whenever we talk about decomposition, what is it? Decomposition is basically we are trying to decompose our given relation. I hope you all know that we generally denote it with R. This is the relation name, and then we have few attributes. Like if I say R, A, B and C, so this means that R is the relation, and in relation R I have few attributes that are A, B and C. Right, so whenever I try to decompose this relation into sub relations, like if I say that I am decomposing this R, relation R, into R1 and R2, and of course I will distribute these attributes as well. So let's say that R has A and B, R1 has A and B, and R2 has, suppose, A and C. Okay, so this is how I have distributed the attributes in the sub relations. Okay, so now the sub relations can either, they can be, first they can be lossless decomposition, the decomposition can be lossless, and second is they can be lossy. Now what does it mean? As from the name only we can understand, lossless means that our data is not lost. Whatever data that was maintained in this relation R is present when we will combine these R1 and R2. And lossy means that when we will combine these two sub relations, that is R1 and R2, some amount of data or some particular data will be lost. So that is basically your lossless decomposition and your lossy decomposition. Okay, so now another one thing that is to be kept in mind, whenever we will join it, we will always join the two sub relations on the basis of natural join. Okay, so this is the symbol for your natural join. So what I'm saying, ki when you have to join the two relations R1 and R2, when you are trying to join the two sub relations R1 and R2 in order to check whether the decomposition is lossless and lossy, we will always perform this natural join. Now you must be thinking, what is this natural join? Okay, so natural join is basically that type of join where we combine the two relations or sub relations based on the fact that there is a common attribute between the two. Okay, what I'm saying is that if I have to join two relations, suppose R1 and R2, and the attributes of R1 are A comma B and the attributes of R2 are A comma C, then I can perform natural join because they both are having A in as a common attribute. So I can perform natural join only then when I have a common attribute between the two relations. If suppose I say that I have two relations R and I have a relation S. R may I have attributes P and Q, and S may I have attributes X and Y. So between R and S, if I have to combine these two attributes, I cannot perform natural join. Why I cannot perform natural join? Because there is no common attribute. So this is what you have to keep in mind, that whenever you have to perform a natural join, a common attribute must be present between the two relations. If you see the previous example, here also we were having A and A in R1 and R2. So I can combine these two relations on the basis of A. So with the help of A, I can join the two relations R1 and R2. I hope this much is clear to all of you, right? So I think now you know. Let me give you an example for natural join also. ठीक है, कोई doubt नहीं होगा. Let us say, suppose I have a relation R and it has A, B and C as the attributes. Then I have a relation S and it has attributes C and D. Okay, so let's form a table. So this is your A, B and C, and here I have C and D. So now give it a think, try to think for 2 minutes or more whether I can perform natural join or not. Till then I'm filling the values. Yes. So what do you think? Whether you will be able to perform natural join or not? Yes, you can perform natural join. Natural join can be performed. Why? Because we have a common attribute, that is C. So with the help of this common attribute C, I can perform this natural join, right? So now let's try to form it. So what I will do, I will simply cross product R and then this is your natural join symbol. So what will happen is, I will get a resulting table that will have how many attributes? That will have A, then it will have B, and it will have C. So this is for your what? This is for your C हो गया आपका यहाँ पे, and last में what you will have? Then you will have the attribute D. Okay, so what you will do, you have a common attribute, so you will take 2, 4, 6. So 6 is here, and then what is this one is having 6, right? So what will happen? The resulting will come out to be 2, 4, 6 and 5. This is your first one. Now suppose I have added one more attribute, one more row to it. Tuple भी आप बोल सकते हो उसको, ठीक है? Suppose I have added is 4, 5 and 6, 8. Suppose this is what I have for CD. Okay, so natural join will take C only of those cases where both the values of C are same. So this one, then I will take this one. So I can write it as 2, 4, 6 and then 8. Then what next? Next I can take is this 4. So is there any one 4 similar to 4? Yes, this one is there. I can take these two, these tuple. So 3, 5, 4 and 5. I will not add this one. Why? Because this 2 was not present over here. Similarly, अगर यहाँ पे कोई value होती, suppose if here they would have added like this, suppose. So this also would not have included. Why? Because 9 wali jo attribute 9 is not present over here. So I would not have added this one into my table. So this is what is your natural join of R and S. So what you have to remember, that you can only join two tables, you can only join two relations if they are talking about natural join when there is a common attribute between the two. So I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay. Now, yes. For lossless decomposition, there is very important point. What is it? What you have to keep in mind is when you will deal with lossless decomposition. Suppose we have relation R, okay, and I have decomposed into R1 and I have decomposed into R2. Now, suppose R is having the attribute, same case, let us say A, B and C. R1 is decomposed into A, B and R2 is decomposed into AC, if this is the case, okay. So what we have to keep in mind is, when I will take the intersection of R1 and R2, okay, whenever I'll take the intersection of R1 and R2, suppose I get what? I get the common attribute as X. Okay, so this X must be the candidate key in any of the particular relation. What I'm saying, if X, suppose now we have R1 R2, if we take this example, what is the common attribute over here? The common attribute is A. Obviously, in every relation, we must be having certain functional dependencies, right or not? Yes, we will be having certain functional dependencies. So what we have to keep in mind, that when we will combine R1 and R2, whatever will be the, whatever will be the common attribute, this common attribute has to be a candidate key. It must be candidate key in either of the relation. In either R1, candidate key of either R1. Okay, so what the case is, that it should be a candidate key of either R1 relation or of R2, but it has to be a candidate key. If it follows this rule, then I will say that it is a lossless decomposition, and if this case is not followed, then I will say that it is a lossy decomposition. Okay, so I'll explain with the help of example, and then I'll explain further key what is dependency preserving in this only. Okay, suppose I have a relation R and it has attributes A, B and C, and we have a set of functional dependencies, and they are, basic example I'm taking, A to B, B to C and C to A. Okay, and I have decomposed this R into two sub-relations, R1 that is AB and R2 that is BC. Okay, so now what I have to do, I have to check whether this is, first I have to go for whether it is lossless or lossy. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll perform the natural join. What is the common attribute between R1 and R2? Common attribute between R1 and R2 is B, right? So what is the functional dependency over here? So what I have to do, I have to first find the candidate key of R1, right? First what we will do, we will find the candidate key of R1. So what is the candidate key of R1? If I take the closure of A, what I will get? A closure, so I'll get A and I'll get B, right? Then what is the closure of B? Closure of B, so I will get B. Now I will get C and I will get A, right? I will get C and I will get A. But C is not an attribute of R1. Try to understand this thing, what they are saying. If I take the closure of B, from B I will get C and from C I will get A. But C is not a part of R1. So that is why I will not include C in this B closure. I hope this point is clear. Why we are not taking C? Because C is not a part of R1. Okay, so that is why B closure will only give you B. Now if we move to candidate key of R2. What is the candidate key of R2? So what is the candidate key of R1? So candidate key of R1 is A only. Now let's take the closure of B. So B closure will give you B and C. And what about C? C closure will only give you C, because from C I am getting A and A se I'll get B, but C A is not a part of your this relation, so you will not add it in your candidate key. So what is the candidate key of R2? Candidate key of R2 is B. So what I wanted, I just wanted कि when I will combine R1 and R2, when I will take R1 intersection R2, that will give you B. So B must be a candidate key of any of the one relation, and I can say that B is the candidate key of R2. So therefore this is what type of relation? The decomposition, lossless decomposition. I hope this is clear to everyone. Yes or no? Okay, now when I deal with dependency preserving, when I have to check for the case that it is dependency preserving or not. In dependency preserving, I have to see whether I can take these, whether all these three dependencies, this is your first dependency, second dependency and third dependency, whether these three dependencies are being preserved or not. So if I take a check over here, if I have this A, B only, okay, so what I'll take, what two dependencies I have over here. From this, if I take R1, what two dependencies I have to keep in check? From R1, I have two, A say B, one dependency, and next one is B say A, right or not? Yes. Why? Why A to B and B to A? Because A say B I am getting, and via C I can get B to A. Matlab, what we are thinking is that what dependency preserving says that when you combine the functional dependencies of two relations, you should get all the three functional dependencies. So A say B I can get if I have A B. There are two possible cases, that either it can be A to B and it can be B to A, right? So when I'll take, and what about R2? So I can have B to C and C to B. Yes or no? Or okay, wait, what you can do is, first let's discuss lossless only, and then we'll move to dependency preserving. First let's clear the doubt of lossless one. Okay, chalo, let's take another example for lossless, then we'll come back to dependency preserving. Okay, so I have another relation R, and it is A, B, C and D, and the functional dependencies are A to B, B to C, C to D, and D to A. Okay, and the decomposition is done in AB, BC and CD. Now try it and tell me whether this is, and tell whether this is lossless or lossy. I'll give you 2 minutes to do it, and then tell me whether it's lossless or lossless. So what is the common attribute over here? If you see, the common attribute is, in these two, the common attribute is B, and in these two the common attribute is C. Okay, so let us check whether the candidate keys we have or not. So R1, what is the candidate key of R1? The candidate key of R1 is A, right? So what we have to do, we have to take closure of A. So A closure will give you AB, and then I have B, so B closure will give you only B. So candidate key of R1, I'll write over here, R1 is A. Okay, then I have to get B as the candidate key of R2. So what I'll do, I will write R2 and I'll try to find the candidate key of R2. So B closure will give you B and C closure will only give you C. So what is the candidate key? Candidate key of R2 will give you B. So right, so now I'm getting B as the candidate key of R2. Let's check for R3. So R3 के case में what is the candidate key? So R3 में we have C and D. So we'll take the closure of C. So C will give you C and D closure will give you only D. Right? So what is the candidate key of R3? Candidate key of R3 is C, and it should be C only. So therefore this is a lossless decomposition. I think now you can do these questions whenever you have for lossless or lossy. I hope there will be no problem now. Let me give you one more question for practice. So you have a relation R and you have A, B, C, D and E. Okay, then you have A, B to C, then you have C to D, and then you have B to E. Okay, and the decomposition decomposition is done into A, B, C and C, D, E. So tell me whether this is lossless or lossy. Again, same procedure you have to follow. You have to find the common element. So what is the common between A, B, C? If I have A, B, C and I have C, D, E. So what is the common element between the two? The common attribute is C. So now I have to find the, what I have to find? I have to find the, whether this is a, C is a candidate key of any relation or not. So what I can do, I can take simply the closure of C. So if I'll take the closure of C, what I'll get? I will get C and D. And as you can see that CD is a part of this table, but it is not covering all the elements of this relation, right? This is having ABC, so no chance. But CDE mein agar hum dekhe, so when I take the complement, when I take the closure of C, what I'm getting C and D only. If it has to be a candidate key, it should include E as well, and it is not including E in its closure. So that is why C is not a candidate key of any of the given decomposition. So therefore, this is a lossy decomposition. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, why it is lossy? What I will do? See, abhi tak what we were doing, we were taking and finding out the, what we can say, the closure of each and every element. But what you can do simply is, you first find the common element out of the two. Okay, when you find the common element, try to find the closure of that. And if by taking the closure, if you're able to identify that whether that particular common element is a candidate key of any of the given relation, then I can say that yes, this particular common element or common attribute is a candidate key of this relation. Okay, so if I give you one more, suppose this only I have, and here what I have is so I have R and I have A, B, C, D, E. Same I have, and the functional dependencies are also same. A, B to C, C to D, and B to E. Okay, and the decomposition is done into A, B, C, D and B, E. Okay, this is what decomposition is performed upon. So now tell me whether it is lossless or lossy. So same steps follow karenge. We will find the common attribute out of these two, A, B, C, D and B, E. So what is the common attribute? The common attribute is B. So now what I'll do, I'll try to find the closure of this B. So what I will get? I will get B and I will get E. And this is what this is. I can say from this that B is the candidate key of BE. Yes or no? So therefore this is a lossless decomposition. I hope now this is clear to everyone how we are doing it. Okay, so now let's talk about dependency preserving, how we will perform dependency preserving. So what is happening is, suppose that I have a relation R, and in that relation R I have a functional dependencies FD. Okay, functional dependencies हैं आपकी F suppose. Okay, so now what will happen is, when you will divide your relation R into R1 and R2, these functional dependencies will get distributed. So some functional dependencies will become part of R1, some functional dependencies will become part of R2. So when you will do the union of these functional dependencies, result should be F. That is this F set. Okay, if your result is F, then we say that the dependency is preserved. Okay, so when you will say dependency is preserved, you have a relation R. Okay, in that relation R you have a certain functional dependency set. So those functional dependencies, when you will divide your relation into two, those functional dependencies will also be divided. So when you will combine F1 and F2 with each other, And if you take the union of the two, that is f1 f2 when you will take union, your result should be the same functional dependency set that was the original one. And if I get the same original set, then I will say that the dependency is preserved. Okay, so I'll explain you with an example, then you will be able to understand it clearly. What you have to do, suppose I'll take a question over here. They have given you R, A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, and the functional dependency set is A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, and D to B. Okay, and decomposition is done into AB, BC, CD, and DE. Okay, you have to find whether the dependencies are preserved or not. So what you will do, you find the dependencies of all these sub relations. Okay, so first we have AB with us, then we have BC with us, then we have CD with us, and then we have DE with us. So what you will do, you will find the dependencies from these sub relations. So what I can get, if I take the closure of A, so if I take the closure of A, what I will get from this functional dependency, what I will get, I'll get A, I will get B, then I will get C, then I'll get D, then I will get E, right? And if I take the closure of B, what I will get, I will get B, I'll get C, I'll get D, I will get E. So what I'm getting from this functional, from this closure, what I am getting is that A functionally determines B. How can I say? Because when I took the closure of A, when I take the closure of A from the given functional dependency set, original functional dependency set, I was able to obtain B in its closure. But when I took the closure of B from the given original functional dependency set, I was not able to obtain A back. So that is why A is to B is a functional dependency that I have received from this AB relation, sub-relation. Next, what we will do? Next, we will check for B and C. So again, we will take the closure of B, and the closure of B will be same. Yes, that will be B, C, D, E. And what will be the closure of C? Closure of C will be C to D, D to E, and D to B. I am getting B as well, right? From D to E and D to B. So what functional dependencies I got? I got is B to C, right? And I have received C to B as well. Okay, I hope this much is clear to everyone. Okay. Next we will try for CD. So I'll take the closure of C. What is the closure of C? C, D, E, and B. And what is the closure of D? Closure of D, what you will get is D to E, E to B, again B to C. Why? Because we are getting, I think closure आप easily निकाल सकते हो, right? This is not a problem. Then what are the functional dependencies? C to D I am getting, and D to C I am getting. Next, what I'll do, I'll take the closure of these two. So I'll get the closure of D. Closure of D is D, E, B, and C. And closure of E is E. Only E. So what I will get, what is the functional dependency I received? The functional dependency I received is D to E. So these are the functional dependencies. Now I have to check whether I am able to get all these original functional dependencies or not. Let us name them as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1, A to B, I got it over here, right? So right, I am getting this one. Then B to C, B to C also received. C to D, C to D also done. D to E, D to E also done. Now what about D to B? Am I able to receive D to B? See, from here I am getting D to C, right? So I can write D to C. And here I am getting C to B. So by transitive property, if I follow transitive property, I can get D to B as well. So I will get D to B as well. So therefore this is dependency preserving. I hope you got the point. So what you have to do, you have to check, you can use transitive property as well, and I hope you all know what is transitive property, that if x is following y and y follows z, then I can say that x will also follow z. This is your transitive property. So with the help of transitive property also you can find whether the given dependencies are preserved or not. I hope this is clear to everyone. We'll do a few more questions. Okay? Let us do another question. Let us say that I have a relation R, A, B, C, and D, and the functional dependencies given to us are, see, if since this will be a recorded video, what you can do is, I have written the question, you can pause the video and try the question yourself, and then you can check whether the given answer is right or wrong. Okay, if you have understood the point. And the decomposition has been performed into B, C, D, A, B, C, and A, D. So what you have to do now, you have to find the sub relations key. What you have to find, you have to find sub relations dependencies. So first I will have B, C, and D. Then I have A, B, C, and then I have AD. So first I'll look out for B, C, and D. So first I'll take the closure of B. So closure of B will give you B only. Then I'll take closure of C. It will give you C only. Then I'll take closure of D. It will give you D only. Then I'll take closure of B and C both. So it will give you B and C, nothing else. Then B and D. What will be the closure of B and D? B, D, A, right? D say A you got, and then A to B you will get C as well. Then C, D. What will be the closure of C, D? So you got C, D, you got A, but nothing else. Then we'll take closure of B, C, and D. So what you have to do, you have to take the closure of each and every possible relation. So B, C, D ka closure, you will get B, C, D, and A. Okay, so this is what you will get. So what are the dependencies you have received? So first dependency that you got is, see, now what I need B, C, D. So in this B, D, I am getting B, D, and C. I am getting all the one. So I can say that first dependency I got is B, D to C. Yes or no? B, D to C. And then B, C, D to, obviously it will include in itself. So I'll not take that. So we will have B, D to C. First dependency that I got from this case. Yeah, यहाँ पे आपको D के क्लोजर से A भी मिल जाएगा, but I do not need it because A is not a part of this relation. I have simply written, but it is not a part of this relation. ठीक है? Next I have A, B, C. So again we will do the same thing. We will take the closure of all these parts. So we will take separately A closure. A closure will be A only. B closure will be B only. C closure will be C only. Then we'll take the closure of AB. So AB ke closure se I will get A, B, C, and D. Then I'll take closure of AC. AC closure will be AC only. Then B and C. So BC closure will be BC only. So what I got from here, if you look here, if you look at this one, you can see that from AB I am getting ABCD. So the next I got is AB to C. Yes. Then next I have AD. So next what I'll do, I'll find the functional dependencies of this sub-relation. So it is A closure, you will get what? A only. Then you have D closure, you will get what? DA. Next, nothing you have else, anything. So from this I can say that D say I am getting A. Now I will check whether I am getting the relation, where I am getting the dependencies or not. So first I am receiving this D to A. Yes, so I will say that this one is what I am getting. So right, this one is received. Next I have AB to CD. Now I am getting AB to C, but by any chance I am not getting AB to D. Right? This is AB to C and AB to D. I can write it like this. I am getting this one, but I am not getting this one. In no sense, BD to C will be anyway equal to AB. If you say that if you use the transitive property, it will be something like AB to C, right? And then transitive property using use of इसमें, right? BD2C. I cannot use transitive property over here. So this is not dependency preserving. Why? Because this dependency was not preserved. Okay, so since when I combined all these three dependencies, I was not able to receive this one. So if I'm not able to receive any of the dependency, I will say that it is not dependency preserving. Okay. So next, let us try one more question. Okay, so I think now you will be able to do the questions that you will get. So I have relation R and I have A, B, C, D and E, and the functional dependencies that I have are A, B to C, B, C to A, C to B, B to D and D to E. And I have decomposed into A, B, C and B, D, E. Now, suppose this is the question you have an exam, how you will do? So that very less time it will take. So what you will do, first you will take the closure C. You have A, B, B, C, A, C, B and D. So if you will take the closure of B over here, what you will get? You will get B, D, E, next, nothing else, right? Then we'll take the closure of AB. So AB closure will give you A, B, C, D and E. Then you take the closure of BC. What it will give you? B, C, A, D, E. Then you will take the closure of AC. AC what will give you? A, C, B, D, E. Sorry. So what you got? The first one you got was AB to C. Then you got BC to A, right? And then you got AC to B. Why are we taking only ABC? Because we do not require D and E in this sub relation. Next we have BD and E. So next again we perform the same. So first I took the closure of B, so it will give me B to D and D to E. Then I took the closure of D, it will give you D to E. I took the closure of E, E closure will give you nothing, only E. Right, then I took the closure of BD. So BD will give you B, D and E. Right, then you took the closure of DE, it will give you what? It will give you DE only. And if you took the closure of BE, it will give you what? It will give you B, E and D. Right, so now what are the functional dependencies we are getting? So from this I am getting B to D, E. Both I can write, right? I can write B to D, E, or simply I can write B to D. B to D also I am getting, and B to E also I am getting. So instead of B to D, E, I can write B to, because see, if you remember, you should know this, that if you have A to B, C, okay, so this can be written as A to B and A to C. This is correct. But if I have A, B to C, I cannot write it like this. This is not the correct way. So always remember this. If you have two attributes on the right hand side, you can break those two attributes. But if you have two attributes on the left hand side, you cannot break them, because their combination is determining this attribute. Okay, so here what it is saying, that A is able to determine B also and A is able to determine C also, but this means that combination of A and B is determining C. So I can write it as B determining E and B determining D. But I can, this is equivalent to this thing, but I cannot say that if on the left hand side, if there would have been two attributes, then I could not have written like this. Okay, from this I can say D determines E. Now let's check. AB to C, done. BC to A, done. AC to B, done. B to D, done. D to E, done. So it is what? It is dependency preserving. Okay, so this is how you will be doing these type of questions when they will ask you for lossless join and dependency preserving. So if I give you one question, and the question is, you have the relation R and it is A, B, C, D, E, and it is the functional dependencies given is A to B, C, okay, and C to D, E, and D to E, and it is decomposed into A, B, C, D. This is your R1, and your R2 is DE. So first what you have to do, first you have to find whether it is lossless or lossy. So what you will do, you will find a common attribute out of the two. What is the common attribute? D is a common attribute. Then what you will do, you will do the closure of D. What you got? The closure of D, DE. So right, and since I'm getting this relation 2, so it is what? It is lossless. I hope this is what is clear to you now, right? Clear it? D is the candidate key of R2. Why? Because I'm getting both the attributes D and E. So this is lossless. Now I'll try for dependency preserving. So what I have to do? A, B, C, D hai. So what you will do? I'll draw it in half. So first you will take the closure of A. What you're getting? A to B, C. C, so you're getting D, E. Correct? Then what I'll do? Then I'll take the closure of C. I need A to B, C, done. Then I need C, but I'll check whether I'm able to get or not. So C se closure you will do, you will get C, D, E, right? And okay. And if you take D closure also, so I will get D, E, but I do not require E over here. So what are the dependencies I'm getting? So first I'm getting is A to B, C, D. I can write D also because D is a part of this relation. Okay, so I can add A to B, I can add A to C, I can add A to D, I can combine them as well. Then from here what I am getting C to D. I do not require E for now because E is not a part of this relation. Next I'll move to R2. Okay, and this I do not require because E is not a part of this R1, so I'll not include over here. Okay, so do not get confused please. Next we have DE. So what I'll do, I'll take closure of D. What is the closure of D? D and E. What is the closure of E? The closure of E is simply E. So what is the relation over here I'm getting? Sorry, functional dependency D to E. Right. Now what you will do? Now, see, I got this A to B, C. I can if I have told you, if you have A to B, C, D, you can write it as A to B, A to C, A to D, A to B, C, A to C, D. You can write it in any form, right? So from here what I'm getting? From here I can say that I have obtained A to B, C. From this I have obtained A to B, C. I can write it as A to B, C as well. Done. C to D. First we will see D to E. So D to D is also obtained. So done. Now I have C to D. Right. So if you see here, C to D I already have. What I require is, I required C to E. So one thing you can do is, just try to understand it. What you have done over here, you have C to D and you have D to E. So as a transitive property, you will get C to E as well. वैसे तो you can write also, you can see over here also, but E was not a part of this relation, so I have not included E over here. Now I have C to D, I have C to E, so I can simply write it as C to DE, right? So I have received this one also. So this is lossless and dependency preserving as well. So this is how you will be doing these questions. It is very easy. Try questions as much as you can. Okay? If possible, whenever we'll have the practice session, I'll try to include more and more questions of this type. I hope that ये वाला session आपको अच्छा लगा होगा and it is clear to you how we will be solving all these questions. So please do like the video and we'll tell you about tomorrow whatever whether we'll have a class or not, whatever topic we'll be including or not. ठीक है? I'll tell you on the group. आपके Telegram group पे आपको information मिल जाएगी. So please, those of you have not joined the group, do join it. Okay? So that's all for today. Thank you everyone. Take care. Bye bye. Good night.